Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Happy April Fool's Day, April 1st. April 1st, 2024, baby. This year is moving by surely and not slowly. One would say quickly, but I'm excited for each and every day that we have ahead of us. I'm your host, and you're here for the Deluxe Premarket Prep session. Why Deluxe, Adam? Well, that's because we go over the important landscape for the week every Monday, which is key to setting up your game plan, your expectations, all of that for the week ahead. So we start off with the week ahead and then we get into our Monday specific news. And that's how we begin each and every week. Because if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. And we're only preparing to get 1% better each and every day. So whether you're watching live or via replay, make sure you throw that one in the chat, signifying your intention to get 1% better by the end of this session. And we'll do exactly that. I had to push through some pain. Your boy needs to definitely make some type of dentist appointment. Was getting like pain radiating through my jaw yesterday, which I feel like is never a great sign. But it's not as bad this morning. Definitely had a tough time falling asleep. But we'll look to try and, get into the office and see what's happening. At first, I thought it was a migraine, but it was feeling like it was coming from this area. So I'll have to get that checked out. But in the meantime, while it is not, causing me like searing, radiating pain, we're going to get down to work because that's what we do. So in terms of our top news for the week ahead, let's go over the landscape of the week ahead, and then we'll get into our Monday news specifically. So market participants are looking ahead to the jobs week for clues on the labor market. The latest job openings and labor turnover survey, which is the JOLTS report, is scheduled for Tuesday, followed by ADP's private employment report for March on Wednesday. The main event will be Friday's U.S. non-farm payrolls data, with economists expecting an addition of 216,000 jobs in March. That would mark a deceleration from the 275,000 additions in February. In terms of Federal Reserve speakers, the spotlight will be on Central Bank Chair Jerome Powell, who will be delivering a speech on economic outlook at a Stanford forum on Wednesday. So Powell speaking on Wednesday. The earnings calendar is quite light next week, with jeans maker Levi Strauss and Canadian technology firm BlackBerry among a few notable names scheduled to report their quarterly results. So by next week, we mean this week, since this came out a few days ago, outlining what's happening this week. Investors will also be watching out for monthly production and deliveries updates from major car makers, including a highly anticipated quarterly report from electric vehicle giant Tesla. I'm sure Tesla investors will be ravenous to get their hands on that data. Another important event to keep an eye out for is Walt Disney's annual shareholder meeting on Wednesday. The media and entertainment giant is locked in a proxy battle with Nelson Peltz's Trian Fund Management. So Disney, something that has been paying us all year, will look to continue to pay us throughout 2024. We're going to get some, info on them on their annual shareholder meeting. Maybe get some insight into this battle with the activist investor that's going on. That again is of really no consequence to us unless it starts affecting the stock price, and it hasn't thus far in any negative way. In terms of earnings, like I said, nothing really important happening. Levi Strauss is the biggest one that's on Wednesday. Anything else? Dave & Buster's, just fun if you didn't know Dave & Buster's was publicly traded. They report on Tuesday as well. Let's see what else we got going on this week. Kind of a calm week on that front, which is nice. Let's check our calendar, our Market Watch U.S. economic calendar as well. Monday, April 1st, S&P manufacturing PMI final. So we get manufacturing data at 9:45 a.m. today, and we also get manufacturing, like ISM manufacturing data and construction spending at 10 a.m. So 15 minutes into market open, and then 30 minutes into market open, we get some pieces of data that can affect, how we move, might cause some volatility. Typically, when we get data like this, the market can chop, and then it ends up deciding its actual move once we get that data, or at least that's where the big money decides to use that data as cover to pour in and do what it was looking to do. So Monday, April 1st, which I had a April Fool's joke or something laid out for you guys, but no such luck. Maybe one tomorrow. April 2nd, anything important? Job openings data at 10, not really. Don't really see any of that stuff as being important. Wednesday, where is Powell? So Powell speaks at 12:10 p.m. So it's not going to be like Fed minutes or anything like that, like he does normally. But he will be speaking at Stanford, so whatever he says can influence markets. So Wednesday seems like the most action-packed day thus far, just because we've got Powell speaking. Thursday, initial jobless claims. Nothing else important. That's at 8:30 a.m. And then non-farm payroll on Friday and U.S. unemployment rate on Friday. So the unemployment rate could be something that we care about, but that's not until Friday. So overall, I feel like a light news week this week, with really the most jazzy morning happening this morning. 15 minutes after close and then 30 minutes after close. And then after that, not really worrying about anything until Powell at noon on Wednesday. So there we go, kind of laying the groundwork out of the week and what we can get out of the week. Now, let's see what we've got for our Monday specific news. Okay. And I hope you guys had a great Easter weekend, right? An amazing Resurrection Sunday. You got to spend some time with fam, and let me see here. Okay, let me check that out. I hope you got to spend some great time with the family, eat some great food, and, just remind yourself about all the amazing things that life has to offer outside of markets. And then we can get back to work in here today. So, Wall Street breakfast, meet the meat. So our top news today has to do with lab-grown meat. That's always fun. The battle is moving on from the hashtag plant-based theater, which has seen clashes over labeling and skirmishes surrounding grocery aisle placement. Lab-grown meat is now in the crosshairs of several U.S. states, including Alabama, Arizona, Florida, and Tennessee, with proposed legislation that would outlaw the protein source. Arguments in favor of a ban have cited concerns over safety and the role of ranchers, while others have called the innovation stifling measures protectionist and want consumers to make the decision about what lands on their dinner plate. Now, how it's made billions of dollars have been poured into startups that are trying to produce cell-cultured meat, including investments from traditional producers like Cargill and Tyson, whose ticker is TSN. The cultured products are made using cells that come from a living animal, which grow inside bioreactors with the right dose of hormones and nutrients. U.S.-based company Eat Just won the first federal approval in June to sell cultivated meat to the public, but the backlash has been global, with a recent ban implemented in Italy that cited risks to culinary culture and food heritage. Yeah, I feel like Italy would be the first because they, are ready to launch nukes when you break pasta before you boil it. So I just, I can't even imagine them hearing anything about lab-grown meat. They all probably rolled over and covered their face in Parmigiano Reggiano or something like that. Proponents of the emerging industry say lab-grown meat is better for the environment and will go a long way in achieving sustainability goals. It can also help satisfy the ever-increasing demand for protein and does so humanely without the need for commercial slaughter. Producing meat in bioreactor tanks is still far more expensive than raising and processing animals, but the hope is that the technology will get cheaper over time. You guys already know my stance on this. I don't it's not fun, but it is necessary. If you fast forward 100 years in the future, there's a 0% chance that we're still eating real livestock. Are there still health concerns now? For sure. But in terms of sustainability and what's good for the environment, commercially raising livestock is horrible for the environment. And when it comes to the farmers and the ranchers, I mean, I respect it, big Yellowstone fan, but also that way of life is not sustainable in itself anyways. So yeah, I get it, but it's just, this is something that has to happen. I don't think it's necessarily good, but I do think that it's just going to happen because of where we are as a species. So yeah, I mean, to which company figures it out first and gets it done at scale and make sure that it has no negative health connotations. I'm sure that there's a huge market for them, but as of right now, it's kind of crazy that the food that we do feed ourselves that comes from animals, I don't think would be any worse than what would come from a lab-grown culture, considering the fact that it's shot full of antibiotics and it's proven to have links to all these negative health side effects, right? I feel like people are like, ew, why would I eat that? But then you go and you get the new Fruit Loops Rainbow Twinkie. It's why the heck would you eat that, right? that wasn't raised on a farm. So yeah, one of those things where you got to get past the mental block of it, but it will be a thing eventually. In terms of infrastructure news, Baltimore cleanup. Emergency responders have started crane operations and wreckage removal on the Francis Scott Key Bridge, which collapsed last week after a cargo ship chartered by Maersk rammed into one of its pillars. The wreckage removal operations are being conducted by the so-called Unified Command. The bridge acts as an entryway to the Port of Baltimore, which is among the busiest for car shipments, as well as farm and construction machinery. Though analysts have said the port shutdown is unlikely to have major effects on the U.S. economy, the sheer size of the port's volume makes it highly important in the supply chain. Yeah, and there was also apparently some other barge that ran into a bridge. It didn't ram directly into it, but it like sideswiped it and made this loud bang. And it's just like, what's going on here? Like we gotta get this together. M&A news, hot pursuit. Fresh statements from new Nippon Steel president Tadashi Imai show the company is pressing ahead with this proposed $15 billion acquisition of U.S. Steel, whose ticker is X. The Japanese powerhouse, which pledged no layoffs or facility closures, is also continuing talks with the United Steelworkers Union to win support for the deal. President Biden, who was endorsed by USW for a second term, previously said U.S. Steel should retain American ownership, while Donald Trump has vowed to block the transaction if elected. Automakers have also called on the Biden administration to oppose any effort by Cleveland Cliffs, ticker CLF, to buy U.S. Steel amid antitrust concerns. I don't know. You guys know over here we're Cleveland Cliffs fans, so maybe they should give it to them. Not that that would like positively affect the stock, because once a company buys another company, typically the buying company, their stock goes down. But if you want to keep it in the family, right, keep it under U.S. Ownership, that could be the place to look. In terms of tech news, data breach, telecom giant, I was about to mention this if they didn't, AT&T, whose ticker is T, as in Tom, has notified customers about a data set released on the dark web that relates to 7.6 million current account holders and around 65.4 million former subscribers. That is insane. Insane that the data of, what is that, over 70 million people, like 73, 74 million people with an M? That is wild. It is not yet known if the data-specific fields, which were leaked 2 weeks ago, originated from the company or one of its vendors. The hack included personal information such as social security numbers, as well as passcodes and other passcodes and possibly other data. AT&T, which has launched an investigation supported by internal and external cybersecurity experts, said the incident has not yet had a material impact on its operations. Cybersecurity, we talked about it, right? We continue to talk about it as a secularly uptrending sector. All these different companies, Okta, CrowdStrike, right? All these different cybersecurity companies, this only serves to further the case for them in their business. And as AI becomes a more and more integrated part of what we do in these different companies in our day in and day out, work, cybersecurity becomes even more important, because you then have AI models that have to be secured, right? They have to be locked down and making sure that other people can't get in and corrupt it or steal the data. So the rise of AI only increases the need for more cybersecurity, because not to also have these bad actors that using AI for their own, nefarious purposes as well. Security firms. But yeah, just crazy. Like AT&T, 70-something million people's data to the dark web. Literally, what the heck can you do as a normal person? Today's markets in Asia: Japan minus 1.4%, Hong Kong closed, China 1.2%, India up 0.5%, the FTSE in London up 0.3%, Paris flat, Frankfurt up 0.2%, the Dow up 0.3%, S&P up 0.4%, Nasdaq up 0.5%, crude down 0.2%, gold up 1.4%, Bitcoin down 1%. Traditionally, I believe, for my crypto people, that April is not the best month for crypto. So we'll see. Obviously do your own research, look a little bit deeper into that, but just understand that as we go into April, you might want to look at the historic performance, just so that your expectations are managed going into events like the halving. What else is happening? Our rapid fire stock news rundown will wrap up here. Disney Board fight heats up as Kuipers backs Peltz and Rasulo. Will Microsoft and OpenAI unveil a $100 billion data center project? Consumer credit delinquencies are on the rise, but trends diverge. Spirit, whose ticker is SAVE, could get $200 million for Pratt & Whitney engine defect. MicroStrategy, among most squeezable as crypto short interest climbs. China's manufacturing PMI at 13-month high amid robust demand. US CDC warns that bacteria causing meningitis are on the rise. Microsoft-backed startup Rubrik said to prepare IBO filing. That's fun. Got a few friends that work at Rubrik. B of A, lightly regulated techs may be a tempting target for government. S&P 500 real estate stocks see negative returns in Q1. So there we are, wrapping it up, putting a bow on the first day of April 2024. I'm happy that I could go ahead and muster up the strength to be here, and hopefully that's the case for the rest of this week. But like I said, going to go ahead and get this radiating jaw checked out, see what's happening on this nice, fun dental front, and put the work in accordingly. But everybody, let's make sure that we, make April great of a month as March was, and we continue to operate in excellence, but also giving ourselves grace in the areas that we fall short, because you recognize sooner or later that you either win or you learn, right? So let's continue to win or continue to learn and build upon the foundation that we build each and every day. Everybody have a great rest of the day. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.